Then on Monday we started on Dretschke's article, Misrepresentation. That's what it's called, isn't it? Misrepresentation? Misrepresentation. Okay. Okay, but today I want to begin by picking up from where we rather hurriedly broke off last time with some of the radical implications of Putnam's approach to skepticism and what it means for your knowledge of your own mind. Putnam's argument is explicitly targeted at knowledge of the physical world. How is it that you can have certain knowledge of the physical world? Well, it's a good question how far his argument goes. I mean, classically, the two great skeptical problems are, how do I know that the physical world is really there if all I have to go on are my experiences and sensations? And the other one is, even supposing I do have knowledge of the physical world, how do I have knowledge about the minds of other people? And it seems to me a good question whether Putnam's approach would help with skepticism about the minds of other people. And I just want to bring out some points about whether Putnam's argument helps with knowledge of other minds. And then finally, I want to suggest we could turn Putnam's argument on its head and say it's not so obvious that he's really getting his knowledge of the external world, because isn't all he's doing bringing out limitations in our knowledge of the world around us? Okay, so where we left off last time, I was saying Putnam says there are all these skeptical hypotheses on which there are different causes from your perceptions than the ones you think they have. But these aren't really a problem because your language is just talking about whatever usually causes your perceptions and other states. But then what about a skeptic that says it's not that there are other causes than the ones you think for your usual perceptions and so on, it's rather that your ordinary perceptions and sensations have no causes whatever. So consider your stream of consciousness for your whole life. Maybe that's the whole thing. That string of sensory images that you had is the entire universe. So nothing outside them to be causally connected to. And maybe as someone brought up last time, maybe they're not even connected to each other. They just are happening, a stately procession of image after image hanging there in the void, not even a body. So if the skeptic says that, what does Putnam have to say to that? Well, Putnam can't say this, if that's your situation, then you're getting it all right about the usual causes of your perceptions, because your perceptions don't have any causes. It's wrong the other way. If there are only these images, then you don't have the causal connections needed for you to be thinking about your surroundings. Therefore, you're not thinking at all. That's what will be going on. And then it seems like an issue. How do you know that's not the case? And I brought up Davidson's example of Swamp Man, where the bolt of lightning hits the swamp at midnight and this muddy figure clambers out from the depths of the lagoon. Then Swamp Man, just in that moment, doesn't have any thoughts or memories at all. Right, that was a point of some contention last time. How do we feel about saying Swamp Man? Swamp Man might be molecule for molecule identical to you. Okay, I make the following claim. Let me know if this does not seem correct. I make the following claim. Swamp Man is molecule for molecule identical to you. Swamp Man has sensations that are very similar to yours. But Swamp Man does not remember the things that you remember. You remember the birthday party you had when you were 6 and that time you threw up in front of all your 6-year-old friends. But Swamp Man might have sensory images like that, but Swamp Man doesn't remember that party. Swamp Man wasn't there. Swamp Man never had a 6-year-old birthday. I mean, my impression was that was causing a fair amount of friction in the discussion last time, but are you happy with that now, on reflection? I mean, if I say to you guys right now, I remember the Battle of Waterloo, I remember it well, those happy days, the cannon, the musketry, the people. I mean, none of you are going to say, oh yes, is that right? Tell us more. Well, yes, you might say tell us more, but not because you think how fascinating that he remembers the Battle of Waterloo, right? You just say it's perfectly obvious you don't remember the battle. You weren't there. Whatever is going on in your mind right now, it is not a memory of the Battle of Waterloo, right? And similarly, Swamp Man has sensations that might be like those of someone who does remember the past, but Swamp Man does not remember the past because he's not causally connected to the past. You're completely comfortable with that? Is that settled in? Okay, okay. Well, in that case, it seems to be a good question. Think of it right now. The question right now. How do you know that you are not in the position of Swamp Man? I mean, that could happen. Maybe the next slide I put up is going to be the video that shows you emerging from the swamp at midnight last night. You'll see yourself with a picture of the newspaper so you know it was yesterday. Suddenly being generated from the swamp, just the way you are now, with all the apparent thoughts and feelings that you have right now. Showering, getting the mud off, picking up your laptop, coming to the class. You can't rule that out. You don't know what the next slide is going to be. It might be that shot of you. How do you know you're not in the position of Swamp Man? But if you are in the position of Swamp Man, then you have no thoughts. So you don't know that you're thinking. So the situation is actually really terrible. I mean, the ordinary skeptic said, well, I don't know if I have knowledge of the physical world. I don't know if I'm seeing the physical world, but I do know about my own thoughts. Putnam has come along and given us assistance from the causal theory of reference. And actually what has happened is that now you don't even know about your own thoughts. Right? Because everything could be just the way it is now, but you're not even be thinking. You'll be having the right sensory images and so on, but not a single thought. So you can't resolve this. I mean, if I show you the Swamp Man video, you might say, no, that's not right. I can test the evidence. But it really might happen. I produce teams of independent observers. Barack Obama comes in and says, yes, it's all true. Whatever it would take to convince you, it all happens. You can't rule that out just by thinking about it. If you've got any reason to think that's not right, you've got to have some evidence. You've got to generate something by looking around you in the world. So you can't tell just by reflecting in your own mind that you're thinking. So the causal theory of reference actually makes things worse. The causal theory of reference, Putnam takes it, well, it shows you, if you accept the causal theory of reference, isn't that great? It shows that you know all the things you think you know. Right? That's what it looks like when you read Putnam, and your heart lifts, and you think, no longer do I have to be troubled by these skeptical doubts. I can wave goodbye to doubt. But actually, it's just made things worse. It's just added whether you yourself are thinking to the list of things you don't know about. Okay? You comfortable with that? If you say you are, you lie. You can't be comfortable, but you know what I mean. Okay. I want to go over how Putnam's approach might apply to other minds, because I think there are kind of special, interesting problems there. Remember, when we were talking about Putnam on gold and water, kind of early Putnam on gold and water, I said there's one way of reading Putnam's argument where it doesn't really have to do with a causal theory of reference at all. This is where he's talking about words like here or now. So he was saying, well, on Earth, water refers to the stuff around here that looks like this. And on twin Earth, it refers to the stuff around here that looks like this. And the thing about a word like here is the reference of the word here is not fixed by a causal chain. It's fixed by a rule. The word, any time you use this word, it refers to the place at which it was produced. Something like that. Now is not fixed by, it doesn't have its reference fixed by a causal theory of reference. And presumably I does not have its reference fixed by a causal chain. The word I just has its reference fixed by this general rule. Anytime someone utters the word I, it refers to that person. So you don't need a causal theory. So these terms are going to be outside the scope of Putnam's proof. Yeah, because they don't refer to whatever generally causes you to produce them. And what about words like pain or tingling or itch? And when you say pain, I have a headache, for example. When you talk about different kinds of pains, you know what you're talking about, but is that because you've got a sign that refers to whatever characteristically causes it? And the way Putnam is talking about, if you think about water on Earth and on twin Earth, you've got the sign water, and you're caused to use that now in these circumstances, now in those, and the word is just referring to whatever stuff it is out there, whether you know it or not, that is causing you to use the word. But with pain, pain is not, how should I say, pain is not hidden from you in the way that the molecular structure of water is. Pain is not like H2O. When you feel a pain, it is right there at the front of your mind. You encounter the thing itself, not a sign of it. I mean, that's how we put it actually, that, but the causal theory puts it that you've got a sign, and then there's a chain to something out here, a person or a kind of substance or something like that. That's what causes you to use the sign, and you're referring to that, whatever it is. With pain, you might say, well, there's something out here that causes me to say, ouch, that hurt, and I'm referring to whatever it is. But that's not what it feels like. I mean, with pain, it seems like the pain is right over here, inside your mind, and you know what the pain is. And it's that direct encounter with the pain that allows you to understand what the word means. You see what I mean? It doesn't just stand for whatever it is that usually causes you to use the sign. And similarly, for a tingling or an itch or a thrill of joy or a pulse of pleasure, all these sensations they don't seem to be inside the scope of a causal theory, right? You're not just referring to something or other at the end of a causal chain. Okay. Well, how does these points play into the brain in the vat scenario? I mean, Putnam, well, what I'm suggesting here is that if you ask how the standards of right and wrong for a word like pain are set, it's not by some causal connection to something outside you, it's your direct encounter with the phenomenon itself that means you know what has to be the case for the term to apply to someone. So when Putnam sets up the brain in the vat case, it sounds as if he's talking about just one brain. That's the way it's usually put. That there might be just one, in the whole universe, there might be just one vat and one collection of vat-tending machinery in one brain, and that's you. But then what about your knowledge of other minds? Putnam is getting it that if you're in that situation, then you are talking just about patterns of electrical impulses in the vat-tending machinery. But the problem with other minds is, are your sensations or experiences the same as mine? I look at you, you look at me, you get a physical body, but is there anything going on there? Is what I have when I feel pain anything like what you have when you feel pain? Is what I get when I feel a thrill of joy anything like what you get when you feel a thrill of joy? How could you ever know? Maybe you can't ever know. That's skepticism about other minds. Maybe I don't have a mind. I mean, after all, if I just moved and acted in the right way without having a mind, everything would be just the same for you. So that's the skepticism. And now Putnam does suggest, maybe you could imagine that it's not just, I mean, it's kind of lonely if you're just the one brain in the vat, but maybe you and all your friends are all in the vat together, all grooving together in the vat of your choice. So instead of having just one brain in a vat, we could imagine that all human beings are brains in a vat. But then, how could you get the knowledge that your friends in the vat are having sensations? If you think, I'm feeling pain, and now is my friend Bill feeling pain, Putnam's saying, well, when you say the word pain, what you're referring to when you're talking about someone else's pain is a pattern of electrical impulses. What you're talking about them, when you say, is Bill in pain, is a pattern of electrical impulses. So you're asking, does this pattern of electrical impulses have some further electrical signature? Right, that's what you'd be saying. Because all you're ever thinking about are the regular causes of the thought and talk, and these would be states of the machinery, or maybe states of the other brain. But that's not what you want to know. When you want to know, do other people than me have thoughts and sensations in the same way I do? What you're asking is, when I get a pain, when that thing is right in front of my mind, when I'm directly encountering that sensation, is the other person getting the same thing as I have? I'm just saying that, well, suppose it is all patterns of electrical impulses in the vat. Then when I talk about Bill, I'm just talking about a pattern of electrical impulses. But that pattern of electrical impulses does not have sensations the way I do. So the causal theory isn't going to help here. The causal theory can tell you something about, suppose I only use the word pain. Let me try this another way. Suppose I only use the word pain to talk about other people's sensations. I never use it to talk about my own pains. So I only know what pain is by its implications for when other people behave. It's never occurred to me that any of the stuff I feel might be what you call pain. Then I will be using pain just as a name for whatever regularly causes that thing. I'll be using the word pain the way Putnam thinks we use the word water or gold or something like that. It will be subject to a causal theory. And then, if I say Bill's in pain, I can give a Putnam-style kind of proof that that must be right, usually, that Bill's in pain. But that's not the way we ordinarily talk about sensations. We think, I know what it's like for my own case. And when I wonder about Bill's mental state, what I'm wondering about is whether Bill has the same things I do. And you can't get that on Putnam's account. So if you're in the vat, if you're Neil, you know what your sensations or feelings are, and it doesn't have anything to do with any causal connections they might have. You can't get a twin earth case where you shift to twin earth and you keep the word pain the same, but you change its meaning by changing some causal chain. So when you suppose that someone else is in a particular conscious state, you're not just supposing a particular bit of the machinery is in a particular machine state. You're asking, is it conscious just the way you are? And Putnam's argument doesn't help you a bit with that. In fact, in the brain in the vat scenario, you're going to be completely wrong whenever you think that anything else has a sensation. So let me put it one other way. Okay, so it's just let me just it's an implication of this that you could be making lots of mistakes. You could be completely mistaken in thinking that anything else is conscious at all. The one other way I want to try putting it is, I said you don't want to reply to the skeptic that is too good. I mean, you guys all seem to know Descartes. You know Descartes? Yeah. So Descartes gave a reply to the skeptic that went something like, the skeptic says, maybe all your perceptions are there, but you're just mistaken in the conclusions you draw from them. Maybe all your perceptions are misleading or illusory or hallucinations or something like that. And then Descartes' reply is, well, if I just think about it, I can prove the existence of God. And from the existence of God, it follows that my perceptions must be generally correct, because God would never be so mean as to give me perceptions that are not generally correct. Therefore, the skeptic must be wrong. So when you give that kind of block-busting answer to the skeptic, there is always the worry that, look, maybe you have hanging up in a jar in your laboratory a little brain, and maybe a TV screen associated, from which you can read off, from which you can see what the brain is thinking, what's going through the brain's mind. So you can see that now the brain is reading the works of Kant, now the brain is playing basketball, now the brain is having a refreshing drink, and so on. That's what it thinks it's doing. And now, and as you watch the screen, you can see now the brain is being troubled by the question, might it not all be an illusion? Might it not be just a brain in a vat? And then you can see the brain, so whatever your favourite proof is that skepticism is wrong, yeah? Now just imagine, okay, you can cop to this great proof, like Descartes, that skepticism is wrong. And now that occurs to the brain. And it runs through your proof. And you can see it running through your proof, it goes all up on the screen. And it says, that's it, I'm not a brain in a vat after all. Everything is all right. But the terrible truth is that it is but a brain in a vat. So there's a way in which you never want to be able to reply to the skeptic. Right? Because any good reply you have would be something that this brain could run through and use itself to prove that it wasn't a brain in a vat. And that would really be unsatisfactory. It would mean that your argument wasn't any good. And Putnam has a response to this, which is to say, if the brain runs through the argument that looks like, has the same words in it as the argument that you gave, it's actually okay because its words all mean different things. So it's not actually proving the same thing that you were proving, and actually what the brain's proving is completely correct. And that actually seems to me a good reply for statements about the ordinary physical world, statements about tables and chairs and so on. I think it does not work for other minds, because if the brain is asking, am I the only thing in this universe that has thoughts and sensations? Then, however ingenious Putnam's argument is, there's nothing else in the vat that has thoughts and sensations. And when it's asking about whether there's anything else that has thoughts and sensations, it is asking the same question you or I would be asking, because it has its own thoughts and sensations just the same way you or I do. So the meanings of its terms for thoughts and sensations are being fixed in just the same way. It means the same thing by pain that you or I do. It has pains, it has headaches, it has thrills of joy, free songs of bliss, just the same way you or I do. It knows what it's talking about just the same way you or I do. And the terrible thing is, despite everything Putnam can say, it's all alone. It's the only one. It has never encountered anything else that has thoughts and sensations the way it does. So the kind of proof Putnam is giving might give you the physical world, but it still leaves life lonely, because you still don't know whether anyone else has sensations. I mean, this is in the real world now. You still don't know whether anyone else has sensations the way you do. And if they do, you don't know if they're at all like your sensations. So these are two, it seems to me, big qualifications you have to make about Putnam's argument. One is that it seems to show that you don't have knowledge of your own mind, and it leaves you without any knowledge of other people's minds. Yeah? Okay? Plain as day? Finally, I want to suggest that Putnam's argument, actually, I mean, the reason for discussing the argument is that the causal theory of reference is very plausible, right? So something like that, I think it must be right as an account of how we represent. So this is something you have to take seriously as an account of our picture of what our knowledge is, of our own minds, of other people's minds, and our environment. I actually think that Putnam's argument brings out something about how limited our ordinary knowledge of the world is. I mean, that's not the intention. It's meant to show how much knowledge we do have, but it actually means that our knowledge, even of the regular tables and chairs, is very limited.